Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Chad Kaler, Beck's field agronomist in East Central and Northeast Illinois. Today's Monday, April 24th. Just want to do a quick recording here to talk about these cool weather temps and our forecast and the prospects for establishing a consistent stand and a uniform emerging stand, specifically for corn. So let's take a look first back at the first half of April. Obviously, the week of April 9th or April 10th on Monday, that week we had good soil temperatures and good climbing temperatures throughout the week that promoted very good conditions for good germination process to start rapidly and with no precipitation. So in some of the areas, specifically the southern half of the territory I cover, basically from Bloomington south, some of that corn and beans that were planted April 10th, April 11th was poking through this weekend. Can row it in some areas. I don't expect that the cold temperatures we had this morning and 28, 29, 30 degree range in some areas, I don't think that's going to affect that, but time will tell. Definitely the lower the amount of residue is around that seedling, the better the prospects are for survival, whether that be worked ground with aggressive tillage last fall and this spring, or even strip till. So just keep an eye on those fields for any potential death or reduction of stands that were planted April 10th and 11th that were up. So moving on to this week, what are the prospects for planting corn? I'll just come out and say it right now. When I look at the forecast, it does not look good. The weather forecast, specifically the temperatures across our whole entire territory, north to south, from Paris, Illinois, all the way up DeKalb and north, doesn't look good for planting corn. It still seems least risky to plant beans for the next week to 10 days than it does corn. So what am I really looking for when it comes to planting corn and being confident in achieving a uniform emergence and consistent stand? The first thing is, number one, good soil conditions that are fit to plant. And I think that's the thing that's driving everybody's attention to try to get out there and plant corn, is because maybe they did plant beans mostly earlier in the month when it was a little bit cooler. But soil conditions are fit. We're dry enough in most areas, but right now, this week, we're not warm enough. And when I say warm enough soils, I'm really looking at the seed zone. In other words, 2-inch soil temperatures at 10 a.m. Yes, of course, I know that if we get a sunny and warm day of, say, even 55, 60 degrees on a day, it is going to go above 50 degrees at 2-inch soil temp. So that would tend to promote germination just a little bit, but it's not going to be long enough to really start that germination process. So I'm looking for good soil conditions that are fit to plant, meaning warm enough and dry enough. And my opinion is the benchmark is the 10 a.m. 2-inch soil temperature, which needs to be at least 50 degrees. Again, at 10 a.m. at 2-inch in bare soil. And you can see on the screen here, there's a map of Illinois. This is from the Illinois State Water Survey. It used to be called the WARM site. And you can see that across our territory at 10 a.m., 2 inches, there's no place that is showing 50 degrees. So just that's one thing I look at this time of year. The second thing I really want to see is 5 to 6 consecutive days with no precipitation, or at least not enough precipitation that will get down into our seed zone. So as we know, the first drink of water from a corn seed, if it's cold, which it would be this week, whether it's being taken in by the soil moisture or from the first rainfall event, that could lead to imbibitional chilling, really some strange-looking coleoptiles that are trying to develop and after germination come through the soil surface. That's something we don't want to deal with. So 5 to 6 consecutive days with no precipitation or very little precipitation. And there are some chances of rain this week with the cool temperatures, but The good thing is I don't see anything that is large amounts of precipitation. And number 3, lastly here, when we look at the daily temperatures, the high temperature of the day and the low temperature of the day, I really want those 5 to 6 consecutive days to have at least each of those days 100. So if I have a high temperature of 60 and a low temperature of, let's say, 45, that's 105. So I want to have a minimum of 100 when I look at each day. So the sum of those temperatures, the high and the low, for those 5 to 6 days with no precipitation. So those are the 3 things. This week, I think the least risky thing to do is to be planting beans over corn. And also here, there in this email that you're getting this with, there is a link to an article that is called Planting into Cold Soils. That is a quick read refresher. If you have any questions about planting this week, please contact your local Beck's representative. Thank you.